Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to another episode of Up Close and Personal with Angela. On behalf of Aspiring Authors Magazine, I want to welcome you this morning. Welcome, welcome, welcome. For those that do not know who I am Angela Thomas Smith. I'm the founder of AALAC, which is the African American Author Literacy Awareness Campaign. I am also the CEO of Aspiring Authors Magazine. And my whole desire is to bring together brown authors from all over this world and to touch on topics that's affecting our brown community that people do not want to talk about. So today I have an amazing guest with me, Dr. Carolyn Stephens. I'm going to bring her up in just a second. But while I'm bringing her up, I want you to take this opportunity to share this in your circle of influence because you never know what someone may be in need of today. Just a little nugget they can take away. So I want you to share this in your circle while I bring her up. Welcome, 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 welcome. How are you this morning?
I am doing Black Tabulous. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so excited about being here. And good morning to everybody that's watching on this morning.
Well, I'm excited to have you here. I did take a opportunity to glance at your page this morning, and I see that you too are into collaborations. And everybody that follow me know somebody labeled me the queen of collaboration a couple of years ago. So that name has just really stuck with me. And I've had definitely had to live up to that. So when I saw that you are a collaboration consultant, I said, "Wow, we have something in common." So
Yeah.
I'm excited to have you here. I'm excited to learn more about your brand and excited to learn more about you. So I'm going to turn it over to you right now and give you the opportunity to share with those that are tuned in and those that will catch the replay just a little bit about Dr. Carolyn Stephens.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Queen, for having me here on this morning. I have been excited ever since I received the opportunity to be able to come and be on your platform. And just like you did, I saw that you were the collaborations queen. So I said, well, we are kindred spirits. We have something in common. So, by way of introduction, I am Dr. Carolyn Stephens. I am a clinical family therapist by trade and have been for close to 10 years now. I'm also a family support specialist, so I work along with those two things. Most people may know me by the I am a black woman, I am a black man movement, and I'll later on in the interview I get a chance to talk about that. But I have authored those two books, and we have a third one coming out. I am a black woman, the next level. I'm also the CEO of Black House Collaborations, and we have a media subsidiary that I am now the CEO of the BHC Media Group, and that's where I provide platforms for business owners, authors, coaches, ministers, leaders who have a message that they want to give to the world. And so we give them a platform to expand their level of visibility by way of television on demand. So super excited about being able to wake up every morning and giving Black and Brown men and women opportunities to be visible before 30 million people in the entire world. I originally hail from Brooklyn, New York, and I say that very proudly. I'm always a Brooklyn girl at heart. Currently, I reside here in Atlanta, Georgia, where I have my practice. And so, again, welcome everybody to the broadcast. And thank you so much, Angela, for having me here. And that's a little bit about Dr. Carol.
Wow. Definitely, you are definitely doing some amazing things. Definitely
Thank you.
providing. I love the fact that you are providing yet another opportunity for our brown people to be broadcast and to be shared because that's an area that we are lacking in.
Very
Um,
much so.
and it has been one of the things that I have fought for since even before I became an author. Because even before becoming an author, I knew that there was not a representation of authors around the globe. just working with kids. I used to run a youth program. That's how all of this was birthed, from working with babies and
Oh my.
understanding that my babies was not engaging in reading and wanting to pick up books and read because they could not relate to them. And until I realized that my babies was falling behind. And when I said, okay, well, let me talk to these babies and really find out why. And those babies would tell me, well, I don't got no dog. They were just like, well, this is not me. I can't relate to this. I don't want to read about this. So I started bringing what I started to do. I reached out to, I came to Facebook, started reaching out to brown authors that I saw that was in my area. And at that particular time, I was in Anderson, South Carolina. So I had authors that was coming in from Atlanta, that was coming in from Columbus, Georgia, that was coming in from all over Tennessee and North Carolina, was coming to Anderson, South Carolina to pour into those babies. Had a
Wow.
lady by the name of Dr. Jasmine Womack out of Atlanta. I think she lives in Atlanta. She had just had her baby. She came in, and I have a picture. I've been sharing it on Facebook where she had her baby on her chest, and she was walking around talking about vision boards and pouring into them babies, sharing vision boards with them. So I definitely thank you for what you're doing, because you're definitely providing the opportunity um, for our brown people, because there are a lot of us out here that feel that we do not have a place for our voice. And when we're provided a place to share our voice, most of the time we feel like it's muffled. It has to set on this guideline or this guideline. We're never truly free to be who and what we are in expressing. So I thank you for providing this platform. I definitely want to know more about that. But before we jump into that, I want to know about your books and how did all this start? What
Oh, boy.
man?
Well, first of all, let me say to you, I we have something else in common because I worked in early learning for a long period of time. I owned my own daycare at one time. I was also a state trainer for early learning providers for a long time. So working with children was my first love, and it's still my love. I just don't work directly with children, but thank you so much. Um, it starts there. It really starts there. It starts with the children. If we can capture them at that age, then we're doing something profound. So I celebrate you for taking that stance and working with our babies, and for all teachers and educators that might be watching this broadcast. Thank you so very much. Well, how did the books come about? Well, I started out in the field of mental wellness as a private therapist. And I realized very soon, probably about 2 years into practice, that the people that I really wanted to serve, they could not afford to pay $150 to $250 an hour to sit on my couch. And that really began to bother me. So I took a leap of faith, and I closed that down, and I went into what's called community therapy. And so that gave me an opportunity to go into the inner city to work with no to low income people. So, and I would do that through contracting through various agencies so that they could receive those kinds of services at a nominal fee or no fee at all. And I still do that today. So I'm very happy about that. So about 5 years of doing community therapy, Angela, what I realized is that 98% of my clientele were African American women. All of these women had what we call duo diagnoses. And for those of you who may not know what that term means, it means that these were women who had two or more different kinds of diagnoses. I realized that all of the diagnoses seemed to be very similar. They had ADHD, they had schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, and all of them had PTSD. So I'm going to take a pause there to say this about PTSD in Black people. It is my belief, and I can substantiate that, but it is my belief that at least 80 to 90% of all African Americans have some level of PTSD. I say that because there's no way that a population of people could have been subjugated to the type of tyranny and the challenges that we as Black people have gone through for over 450 years and not come out unscarred. So there's no way that could happen. Okay. And so PTSD is a term that we usually link with people who have been in the military. But, let me just tell you something. As far as being a Black person, we've been in a war and we still in the war. The
Still
struggle is
no.
still real. It's still real. So for me, practicing therapy is my passion. I often tell people it's not just what I do to make money, but it is indeed my ministry. It is something that I would do even if I wasn't getting paid for it. So once I began to make those kinds of correlations, I thought to myself, well, Black women needed something else in conjunction with the therapeutic services that I was providing. I had never published, I had never really written. And I said, well, what I do know is that these women need an opportunity to be able to be a part of a sisterhood, to be able to share their pain with other women in a safe place, and they need to be able to tell their story the way they want to tell it in the way they want to tell it. Because oftentimes what happens to us as Black people is other people tell our story and they generally get it wrong. And so I wanted those women to be able to tell their story, be as transparent as they wanted to be. And so I had no idea what I was doing. But I'll tell you what was my nemesis. I said I was going to do it, and then I kind of put it off, as sometimes we do. And this was my aha moment, as Oprah would call it. In that year, which was about 2 years ago, I lost my best friend, which was my dad. I lost a spiritual son. Um, I had a major contract, which is where I made my money, and I lost that. And so because I lost that, I lost income. Then I started losing cars, and it just went haywire. So I was like, well, there's no way I'm doing a book because right now I got to get me together and get another job. And one night I looked around and there was so many things, Angela, that I needed. So many personal items, so much money, different things. And I know a lot of women. But in that moment, I could not think of one woman that I could go to and say, hey, I got a need, and feel comfortable telling her that I had a need without being frowned upon. I just couldn't think of anybody in that moment. Jumped in the shower, and for 1 hour, I began to cry profusely. And I couldn't understand why I was crying so much, but it just would not stop, Angela. And all of a sudden, after an hour, all the tears, they dried up. And I sat on the edge of the bed and I said, God, what was that experience about? Here's what God told me. He said, you know how you just felt? You felt lonely. You felt unsupported. You felt isolated. You felt depressed. God said, every day, there are millions of Black women that feel that way every day. And it was in that moment that I knew that I had gotten a mandate from God to go forward and do this project for Black women. So as the story would go, I met 13 Black women from all across the country. Have no idea even to this day how I met all these women, but they just came. As soon as I said yes, the women came. And I want to pause and say that to somebody listening today. Stop thinking about the money. Stop thinking about the resources. Stop thinking about how you're going to do it. The day that you say yes to God, that's when everything that you need, it will come to you. God is just waiting for you to say yes. He's not asking you how you're going to do it. He's not asking you to figure out a budget. And I'm not saying those things are bad, but what I'm saying is the first step to fulfilling your divine assignment is a yes. So I hope today, as you hear this, that you say yes. I don't believe that Angela would be here interviewing me if she had not said yes. So it requires a yes. And I wanted to take the time to say that, Angela, because there's a lot of people that have vision, they have ideas, and they look around on social media and they look at all these other people doing all these grand and wonderful things, and they don't know the story behind the glory, and they feel like they feel inadequate, like, who am I? I can't do it. I don't have the money. I'm too short. I'm too tall. I'm too fat. I'm too skinny. I'm too Black. I'm too this. I'm too that. It doesn't none of that matters. If God gives you an assignment, all you have to do is say yes and let God do the rest. So, subsequently, all the 13 women came together. We began to form a sisterhood. They began to write. They began to share their pain. And then something else happened. So, in the middle of doing the project, I looked at all the stories and they were wonderful, but they all have one main character in all the stories. I bet y'all can guess who that main character was. It was 13 black women, right? There was always a man. There was always a black man somewhere. Either he was the father who left the home, he was the boyfriend that beat somebody up, he was the abuser, he was the neglector. It was always a man somewhere in the story. And I thought to myself, in order for our community to heal, what I can't do is have a book of women telling their stories, and the black man still comes out looking like he is the bad perpetrator and we're victims. So I said, well, the only fair thing I know to do is to get with some men and ask them, would they be willing to do it, write a book, write a story. I really did not know how that was going to come out, Angela, because, we are told that black men do not like to communicate, especially about the innermost parts of their soul. So I worked at radio at that time. I was the only woman. I asked a couple of men, I said, what you think about if I put a book project together? Would you guys do it? Every man signed up. So subsequently, we published I Am a Black Man as well, to go along with I Am a Black Woman. And I hold this book up because this book, these 8 men helped me to heal. I told them as they were writing that you could be candid. This is in the non-judgment zone. I don't care what you did. I don't care what you did. We only want you to write the book so that as black women, we can understand why black men act the way they do, behave the way they do. We want to understand your pain. And all of these men, Angela, began to write these stories. We, from age 35 up to, I think the oldest King Authoress is what we call them, was 78. But Angela, let me tell you something real profound that happened. So got the book done, and I started putting these guys on radio and TV. They did their first radio show, and there were 2 of the King authors there being interviewed. And all of a sudden, one of the men says, you know what? I got something I want to share. So we already had his story. We were trying to figure out what else he wanted to share. He says, when I was a young boy, I was molested, and our mouths dropped. Then I put the guys on Facebook because I had a show on Facebook. So another King author, Mr. Melvin, he says, you know what, Dr. Carolyn, my wife is watching, my children are watching, and I've never told anybody this, but for the last 3 months, I've been in therapy because when I was a little boy, I was molested. Angela, we were in tears, and because none of those stories was in the book. 7 out of the 8 men, including the 78-year-old man, they all talked about being molested, a deep, dark secret that most men will not share. And that touched my heart. And they began to tell us how that experience of being sexually violated as a young boy, how it affected them as husbands and brothers, and why they act the way they do. And I asked them in a back meeting, I said, guys, I gotta ask y'all, what made y'all come forward and tell that? And they said, Dr. Carolyn, because you told us that we were free and you gave us an opportunity to talk. He said, and you know what? Most black women think that we don't want to talk. He said, but that's not true. All of them said the same thing. They said, it's not true. They said, as black men, we have a lot to say, but sometimes society, sometimes black women don't give us an opportunity to tell our truth. So we always get painted as the bad guy. And that for me, Angela, was a healing. And so everybody started calling it a movement. And I believe that it is a movement. It's a movement of unity. It's a movement of love. It's a movement where black and brown men and women, we can begin to not talk at each other, but begin to talk to each other through these conversations that we have. So the books, the movement is, I would say, the greatest part of my life. It is the greatest part of my life. And from the books, because I've started lecturing all across the country about Black people and mental health, and I did a show on Facebook. And so all of a sudden, these people, these millennials come to me and they say, we'd love for you to start a network. And I'm like, no, no more jobs. I can't, no more jobs. And but the long and short of it, Angela, I said yes. I didn't have the money to do a television production company. I didn't have the people. I had no idea what I was doing, but I said yes because I felt like God was saying, you need to do this. And so the BAC Media Group was formed with my partner, Jacqueline Lulu Brown. And we stepped out on faith and came up with our little money and started doing it. And so here we are now. In the first week, we got 10 shows on our network, and we were totally not prepared. But I can say this in short, I wake up every single day and I live my passion. And I tell people, stop running after the money. Stop running after the money. See, you're not gonna get wealthy. Wealthy is not about just having money. And that's where we have gotten off. Wealth it encompasses so much more than money. You understand? I know people who are wealthy, but they're miserable, Angela. But I wake up every morning operating in my divine assignment, doing exactly what God tells me to do. I am helping my people. I give my people opportunities that they would never get anywhere. I give my people opportunities to do the things that they have dreamt to do, and they can do it at an affordable rate. I get to do that. And so I'm leaving my legacy, I'm leaving my mark so that my children can take up the banner and what I'm doing. And I'm especially proud of the work that I'm doing with Black women, that we can begin to shine and the world can see that we just not somebody's baby mama, that we're not the angry Black woman, that we're not the bitter women, that we're not being called out of our names, but that we are truly queens, that we make the world go round, that we do run stuff and we know how to run it. And we also know how to lift up our kings and how to put them where they need to be and position them in the place where they need to be. I get to do this every single day. And being here on your platform is a part of my passion. It's a part of what I get to do. I get to talk to people and meet people like you every single solitary day. And my business is where I get to partner with people, much like you. I get to collaborate with people. I don't believe we can do anything alone. I don't believe we can be truly successful by ourselves. I believe the only way we can be truly successful if we follow the pattern that we see in the book of Acts in the second chapter. And not to sound so preachy, but when you read in the book of Acts in the second chapter, it tells us that there was a day. Now we know the word penta is Greek for 50. So we know that for 49 days they were up there. And now what they were doing for 49 days, we don't get that part of the story. But if I know human behavior, somebody was trying to figure out, well, who's going to be in charge, who's going to cook the food, who's going to serve the food. That's just normal human behavior. But on the 50th day, there was a day, and the Bible says that they were all on one accord. And when they all decided to put away all the isms and the schisms and not worrying about who did what and who had what and how your hair weave look and how you don't look. When they put all that foolishness and toxicity away, the Bible tells me that all of a sudden there came a sound from heaven like a mighty rushing wind, and they were all filled with the Holy Spirit. Now, some people get stuck there with being filled with the Holy Spirit because it's not about just going around speaking in tongues. Okay, not that
Come on now.
yeah, but it's not all about just going around speaking in tongues and shouting all over the place. You in church and you doing all that, but you're not affecting your community. When you read in the book of Acts, what I just read, what I just quoted for you, it says that they went out into the street and they began to do the work of the ministry. They began to go into the community. And the Bible says, and every man spoke in a different dialect. In other words, you know what that means? That means, Angela, that everybody started to speak to everybody in a language that they could understand. They began to meet people right where they are. See, sometimes we get so lofty and high-minded and religious that we stop speaking to people right where they are. You see, they went out into the street. No, they didn't stand behind no pulpit. They weren't in no church in no fancy robes with no big old titles. They went out into the street. And this is the part that I love, Angela. And because of that kind of an experience, when you read a little bit further down in the third chapter, then it tells you that no man had no lack. Everything that they needed was provided to them by God. They had housing, they had food, they had clothing, they had shelter. So, what am I saying? I realized that through the power of collaboration, when we begin to synergize, when I begin to put my energy with your energy, when you begin to put your anointing with my anointing, then that is when God can truly bless us. When we come together, when we forget about our own little selves, and we begin to throw away selfishness, and we begin to connect together. There is something combustible that happens when we do that. And I believe the reason why a lot of times as Black people, why we're lacking the money and the resources and the things that we need, is because we're not getting together. People, we got to get together. That's the only way we're going to make it. There is an anointing that you can have by yourself, truly. But there is another kind of anointing that will happen, that will pop up, that will make things happen when we decide, especially as Black and brown people, that we're going to come together. And that's not that's not a new concept for us. Angela, we've been doing that as Black folks. Somebody had some collard greens, somebody had bread, somebody had the chicken. We knocked on each other's door, we put all that stuff together, and we all had a meal. Come on, Black folks. Let's get back to that. But anyway, thank you for letting me say all that.
That's it. And everything that you saying, I've been saying across my platform, because I truly want people to understand that they have a purpose. And my purpose is not your purpose. Your purpose is not Dr. Carolyn's purpose. Everybody have their own purpose and their own journey. But we get so sidetracked because we look at, like you say, what the next person is doing. They could be doing the exact same thing. And I oftentimes references, I collaborate and I work with people that do the exact same thing that I do. But it does not stop me from doing what he called me to do. Because even though we do the same thing, what he placed in my spirit, I know it's not what he placed in your spirit, because you're not me. And vice versa. And that's what I keep telling people. So everything that you're saying, it's just right on accord. So I thank you. I don't even know how we got connected. I know it was a divine connection,
Yes,
but
it was.
I don't know how we came across each other. But I thank him for allowing us to cross paths, because everything that you're doing is exactly, if I'm not doing this, what I want to do. So I definitely will be following you, because you're doing some amazing things, and just listening to you speak, it's just did something to my soul.
Oh, thank you.
Like
Thank you.
you just touched me, like you just, like that wheel in the wheel, like you can't give up. Like it just did something to me. Like it made me, like people that follow me and know that they know this journey. They keep wondering how I keep pressing. But it's just that will that he has placed on this. I believe in Genesis 2:7. He said he breathed the breath of he breathed the breath of life in us. So that means a part of him is in us. So while we out here searching and trying to do this and do that, you got to tap into the source.
Oh, that's good.
You got to tap into the source. It's already in you. If you need to be recharged, you got to tap into the source. You got to plug in. How you plug in? You got to get your mental health in order. Get your physical in order. Yeah, all that plays a part. Deal with those things, that has been passed down from generation to generation. It stops with you. Want to break it? Want to break it? We can only continue to take on what we pass on. We
Oh, that's
took
good.
what was given to us because we had no choice. But it can stop right here. We don't have to pass it on to the next generation. We can say it
That's
stops
good.
right here.
Yes.
Deal
Yes.
with the trauma. We can't keep blaming slavery. We can't keep blaming all the stuff of our past. We got to deal with it. Hurt people hurt. You said some things like my platform right now, my movement right now is healing in the city and hills, because what my conception was, they taking our men. They taking our men, and the men that we do have left, they making them feel they out the men that were in your book. Those men, they making them feel like they ain't they don't measure up. They just making them feel like they're nothing. The ones that are here that are left, that they hadn't wrongfully incarcerated or overly incarcerated or just put into the system, they say slavery is not over. It still exists through the prison system.
Yes. Very
But it
much.
starts with our mind, our mentality, and what we will and will not accept. We keep accepting things. We keep allowing things, and until we say no more, it's going to continue to happen. We won't
Oh, that's
change.
powerful.
We have to
That's
be that
powerful.
change.
That's
We
powerful.
can't keep going around and saying, I keep telling people, okay, we write these books. We do all this stuff, but what are we doing? How many times have you got out in your community, like you say, community? How many times have you got out into your community? People don't even know what is a community. Because I remember back in the day, if I got out of line, somebody took care of me wherever I was at. Didn't care if they was my mama, my daddy, my uncle, my brother, whoever they was. They could be a family friend or they could have been a stranger. If I got out of line, they said, okay, you ain't supposed to be doing that, baby. Don't do that.
Yes, yes,
And then
yes,
they told an adult that was with us, and then that adult took care of us again right there in front of them. And then we
yes,
got it again when we got home. But see, everybody don't
yes,
want nobody to say nothing to their children. Everybody's so stuck on this. But see, what has happened is our parents want to be the kids' friends. Somebody got so upset with me the other day about a post, might have been a couple of months ago, but about a post that I posted because I told them that their children were on loan, that when they're 18, you got to give them back to the one that loaned them to you so they can go on their journey.
that
So
is so
pour
true.
into them and do what Proverbs tell you to do so that when they go on their journey, they can go on their journey and they won't part from their ways. But if you ain't put nothing in your babies, they ain't gonna be able to give nothing back out when they do step out. And
Yes,
that's what's happening. We're not putting nothing in them. What is happening is society set us up to fail. They introduced drugs to our communities in the 70s and the 80s. They introduced all this stuff, the projects, welfare, all this stuff to keep us on in bondage and to keep us in a place or where we had to have our hands out, where we always had to depend on somebody instead of depending on the one that created us.
oh, that's powerful. That's powerful. It's the truth. It's powerful.
But everything that you said, this is it. That's everything that you said right here today. So many people, but we keep saying this. But you made a valid point when you was talking about the Pentecostal and the 49 and the 50 days. People don't understand. We all have different religions for a reason because everybody ain't gonna get it this way. We have different dialect, we have different languages for a reason. And still, we get so holier than thou. We think that we can't go to this place, we can't go to that place, or we don't you don't need to be around this person, you don't need to be around, but you ain't always been saved. I ain't always been saved. I ain't
That's
always
right.
been so holier than thou. So just
That's
like
right.
somebody had to come get me out of that gutter, you got to go get somebody out of the gutter too. So don't think that you have arrived when you haven't. I told people, heal. When he dropped that word heal in my spirit, H-E-A, hell, he said hindrance. Stop allowing people to hinder you
I love
in your
that.
present state of being.
I love that.
We are spiritual people, and we let this physical stuff consume us. People, places, things, everything outside that hinder us. But that's their job. It's come to distract you from operating in the spirit because if you're operating in the spirit, you're lining up. You're moving. You're connected to him so he can flow through you. But if you're not connected to him, you're distracted, he can't flow. He can't operate through you.
That's good.
So
That's
then
good.
you operating in the enemy. So you got to stop allowing these hindrance. But then we allow these egos, that
That's
ego.
good. That's good.
Ego ain't got no process, ain't got no room in this process. Your ego, it means nothing. But we get to a place to where we think we have arrived because we got education, because we got classification, we got economical status, we got all this other stuff that means absolutely nothing. Because when you leave here in the physical, ain't none of that going with you.
That's
Ain't
good.
none of it
Thank
going
you.
with you. So pipe down that ego. Come on back down and realize that we need each other. Like you said, we
Yes.
all need each
Yes.
other. Attitude. The A is for attitude. Attitude.
That's good.
Your attitude is what is displayed. And what is displayed is what you put in you. So if you ain't putting nothing in you, if you're around here just looking at everybody and being envious and jealous and judgmental and angry, that's what you're gonna give out in that attitude. You're gonna be walking around with your nose tooted up. You're gonna be walking around and all that. So I keep telling people, if you want to have an attitude with me, baby, have the attitude of love. Because love draws. Love
That's
covers a
good.
multitude of sin. Love bring people in. If you want to
That's
have an
good.
attitude with me, have that attitude of love. Because you know what? Love is contagious. Love. And then the L, of course, is love. We got to
Oh, thank you.
learn, love, and lead. That's what the L is for. Heal. That's a process. And that's what he dropped in my spirit. So often people tell us what that word means. Okay, that may mean that to you. Some people may not receive even what I said today for the word heal, but it's on them. If it connects to your spirit, then you take it and you run with it and you apply it to you. And that's what I tell people. Everything is not for everybody. And don't try to apply everything that people give you. This journey is your journey. Nobody is going to completely know what we were supposed to do and what we were supposed until we stand before him and he say, well done. And then you can say,
That's
well,
so
I did
good.
all that. But every day, all you got to do is get up. I just posted today, get up and let him lead you. That's all you got to do. Get up. You can't stay stagnant. You can't stay in that place. Okay, well, you fail. You fall. Pick yourself up. Dust yourself off. We don't want to do that. We want to wallow. We want to have pity party. We want people to feel sorry for us. We want people to just, no, I'm sorry. Ain't happening. So you're on the wrong site for that. We're not doing that over here. So you got to,
Love it.
like they say, put on your big girl and your big boy panties. Put them on because over here you got to know who you are. Connect to him. So if you don't know who you are, let me tell you here. This is how you go find out, or you can go pick up your Tehran or whatever, what other. But I am a Christian, so the Holy Bible is my belief system. That was poured into me. I don't profess no certain religious title, but I'm a Christian. I believe in Jesus Christ. I believe in God. So at the end of the day, I open up my Bible and I let it speak to me. No, I don't hold no titles. I don't have no classification. I don't know theologian, none of that. I don't know all them scriptures. And sometimes I be quoting stuff and I don't know the scripture, but I can tell you what it says and I can paraphrase some scriptures for you. When
I
I
love
go
it.
over there,
I
he
love it.
lead me. And if you do it, he'll do it. He would do it for you too. And then he would strengthen you. I ain't where I was yesterday. And every day I ask him to remove this flesh, less of me and more of you. That's all I want. And that's all everybody needs to say every morning. Less of me and
Mhm.
more of you.
Love you.
When I go to sleep at night, I want to have given all that I can give throughout this day. That's why I go hard. That's why I do what I do. Because I want to have given out. I want to have made a difference in somebody's life. I want somebody to say, "Ooh, Angela touched me today. Angela did this today. Angela did
Yes.
something so
Yes.
that he get the glory." And I want to pour out. See, you said something. You said something earlier too about prophesying and speaking. But see, people Jeremiah 1:5 over there where they say we should be prophets and prophets to the nation. See, people got that confused too, and look to the hills from which your help coming to. They got all that confused because they literally think something gonna fall out the sky. They
Oh
think
boy.
somebody's gonna ride down on a horse and pick them up and take them on the glory. No, that's not finna happen. I'm gonna tell
You
you.
gotta do the work.
It's in you.
Yes.
You want let him stir it up. The power is already in you. He said, I have positioned you to be an overcomer by being a willing vessel to empower others through your resilience. Now, if you want to operate in powers, he said, be a servant. Go serve somebody. Don't let it be all about you. I'm telling you, when he dropped these words in my spirit, he deals with me first before I can even share it with somebody.
That's right.
Before I can even
That's
share it with
right.
somebody. I thank you so much for coming on here today because I tell you,
Woo! Where do I send the offering?
up something in me today. Like and I was just in Atlanta. That's my other home. Um, don't know.
Okay.
So a little bit about me. I am from Anderson, South Carolina.
I know what that is.
It's like 2 hours
That's
from
right.
Atlanta. I went to Morris Brown College in the
Oh
early
wow.
90s. I played basketball there. So I lived in Atlanta for about 18 years. I moved back to Anderson. Then I moved back to Atlanta. I just moved from Atlanta in 2019, I think. February 2019, I moved from Atlanta to Myrtle Beach. So I'm currently here in Myrtle Beach, but I'm frequently back and forth. My godmother lives out in Union City. I just come from Union City
I
in
know where Union
August.
City is. I'm not that far from it.
Yeah, I
I'm
just
not
come
that
from
far
there in
from it.
August. So there I have there's quite a few people that I network with in that area. There's quite a few people
But
between
we've got to think of something that we can do together. We,
definitely. I
we
definitely
have to do
my
that.
friend Stephanie Johnson, who's in Anderson, she just jumped on. She's a pastor over in Anderson. She supports the platform. She's an author, she's a poet, she does a lot. But we're working on a conference in December. And it's called Prepared, Positioned, and Postured for 2022.
Oh, that's my
Um
birthday month, so you have to let me know about that.
And actually, it fell on my mom's birthday. My mom's birthday is December the 4th. And my mom
Oh,
has been gone now. It'll be 30. It's been 30. It was 30 years, April the 13th. My mom passed 12 days after my 16th birthday. So this life has definitely been a journey for me. But I thank God for allowing me the opportunity to be able to give back and to be able to share so that the people coming after me don't have to struggle the way that I struggled. And
yeah.
he's definitely done that for you. He's provided a opportunity. He's given you an opportunity to make a difference, and you are definitely doing that. I
Oh,
was
thank
just sitting
you.
over here
Thank you so
just at
much.
awe of all of the things that you're doing. I truly wish I met you earlier, but it was definitely the time. His timing was
Well,
it's
this is the
always the right
time.
time, and so I'm honored
This is the
today. This
time.
was the time. This
Yes,
was the
and
time.
we
I'm
must
definitely
come together and do something. And hello to the pastor that's watching, and we gals got to get together, and we got to make some things happen,
well.
and
We definitely have to
we
do
can
that.
make it happen quicker when we do it together.
We definitely have to do that because with the book, let me show you the book that I have. With this prayer book, it is
It's beautiful.
121 days of prayer based on Psalms 121. Me and three ladies
Beautiful.
collaborated this project. We actually went in prayer for 121 days from February the 1st to June 1st. And we stood on Psalms 121. But God dealt with me about affirmations and about speaking life and speaking over people. And he said he wanted 365 affirmations to be a part of this book. So we were able to get 138 women. A total of 138 women participated in this project from all over the world. We have women from different parts of Africa, different parts of the UK. Millie Gross is from the Virgin Islands. We had people from Germany. Um, I think we even had a lady out of Korea participate in the project. But it just gave
That
people an
is
opportunity
phenomenal.
to speak affirmations over people's life and things that they've spoken over their life that work for them, to give other people opportunity to speak it and to see that, hey, this worked for me, maybe it'll work for you. At least you can try it, and we'll tell you how you can try it.
That is
So
awesome.
definitely we are on a movement, Heal the City in Heals. I definitely want to connect
I
with
love
you
that.
and connect these
Heal the
138 women
city in
to
heels.
what you're doing, because what you're doing is amazing. And the men were like, "Oh, we can't be a part of this." Oh yeah, we have men too. We have men too. They were like, "We can't be a part." They say it say heels. Yeah, they was like heels, and then he broke down the word heal too. So I break it down heal HEELS. The H, and I often share with people that H. It's time to hover over our cities. Everybody can't be everywhere at one time. So the only way we can hover over our city is in prayer. So it's time to bring prayer back. They took prayer out of schools. They took prayer out of everywhere. And everywhere that they took prayer out of, that's when you can begin to see where the changes begin to happen. When they begin to want to take prayer out of everything. So we got to get back to prayer. We got to get back to community. And we got to get back to sense of self. It starts
Yeah,
with us. It all starts with us. And then once we take care of us, once you get you together, then you can go out and affect your community, and then we'll begin to heal this land.
Oh, I
And
love
that's
that.
how
Heal the
healing
city,
begins.
and I have to be a part of that somehow. That and because I love heels, okay, so I gotta be a part of
So
that.
let me tell
I
you about,
gotta be a
okay,
part
so
of that.
today, starting today, we actually dropped there's 13 of us. We are domestic violence survivor. I'm a domestic violence survivor. I was shot point blank range with a sawed off shotgun. I shouldn't be here, but I am.
Thank you,
God's
God.
grace and his mercy.
Thank
He
you,
had a
God.
plan for me. Jeremiah 29:11 stood up. He reminded me in December 12th in 2012 that he had a plan for my life. Did I know that I would go through all of this after that? But he reminded me then that he had a plan for my life. So every time that something comes up, I go back to that day and I remind myself that he said he had a plan. So if he had a plan for me, he's already worked it out, because ain't nothing new dropping out of the sky. So it's up to me to manifest those things. He said the weapons shall form, but they will not prosper.
I
Those
love it.
tongues shall rise, but they will be condemned. So how you do that? You got to do things. You got to give back. You got to do what he's called you to do. Those things are gonna come. I'm telling you, all these problems. Every time I put out a book, something happens. Something come at me. The enemy attacks. Even this week, but I know the mission that I'm on. Yeah, I'm hurting right now, but I know the mission that I'm on. I know what I'm called to. I know the mandate on my life. It is bigger than me,
Thank you, Lord.
and it ain't even
Thank
about
you, Lord.
books. But he allowed me. He allowed me this platform. He allowed me this arena to be able to share, because there are a lot of women that never published before, didn't think that they had nothing to share. But through this book, became first time authors.
Isn't
Now
that
they wanting to
wonderful?
publish their own books because they realized that they had a voice, just like you said about those men. And that's what it's about. It's about people like you stepping out on faith and believing what he's placed on the inside of you. Because there are people out there, lives attached to our lives, and we don't even realize it. This life is not yours. You're just passing through. It's borrowed. You're giving it to make a difference. So that dash in between that birth and that death, what are you doing? Because one day we're going to
That's
leave here.
good.
One day we're going to leave here.
Yes, that's good.
I love you. I
I
thank
love
you so
you.
much for coming on here, because you definitely have stirred up
I
something
gotta
in
come to
me,
to
lady.
South Carolina.
Doctor, you
I
have
gotta
definitely
come.
stirred up something. I'm in Myrtle Beach. I'm in Myrtle Beach. I live in
You're in
Myrtle Beach
Myrtle Beach.
now.
Okay. Well,
But
I
Anderson is
would
my
love to come
hometown.
in.
Yeah. Anderson is my hometown. So I'm back and forth. I'm in Atlanta too. Like I'm supposed to be coming as soon as my cousin passed, so I have to go be with my family for a while. And once I get myself together, I'll probably be back in Atlanta around November. When I come, I'm gonna be there for a while. So I
We're gonna
definitely want
connect.
to connect with you.
We've
Yes,
got to
and
do that.
I want to personally speak with you, because my godmother, she lost her fiance in January, and she's not been the same. She's not able to stay in her home, and we're afraid that she's gonna have to sell her home because she can't. And I told her there's something that she got to be able to do something. She's willing to go to therapy, but I just got to find somebody. So I'm gonna be talking to you, because I
Please.
gotta find her some help, because I want her to be able to go back home and enjoy her home, and she just can't. And it's just hard. Like when I left, I had to come home because my sister had to have emergency surgery, so I had to come home. And when I left, she went to stay with my god sister, and she's been there since I left. Um, and I want her back home, in her home, where she can go and come as she please, and she can be free to be herself, because I feel like she's just not. And
And healing
yeah,
is there. And
but I'm gonna be
healing
talking.
is available. And so I would love to talk to her. Healing is available. I tell people it's okay to not be okay. Because sometimes, especially with black women, we have the superwoman syndrome, that like we always supposed to be on, we always supposed to be okay, we're always supposed to be perfectly
It
coiffed
is.
and all of that. And listen, and you also have to be a part of a sisterhood. You've got to connect with other women, because you got to be able to synergize with divine feminine energy. That's important. And we've got to be able to connect with other women where you can let it all down, and it's
Because
okay.
that's what they've told us, and that's what they've poured into us.
Yeah, but it doesn't. It doesn't. I would ask every woman out there that's listening, how's that working for you? Okay, it's just for me. How's that? I mean, really, how's that working for you? Because here's the thing, Angela. At the end of the day, I don't care if you're driving a Mercedes Benz or if you're driving a Toyota Corolla. It don't make no difference. It doesn't matter if you're a CEO of a Fortune 500 company or if you're the sister out here working at Walmart. It doesn't matter because all of us, when we get home at the end of the day, and you sit on the edge of that bed. You know that part where you sit on the edge of that bed, you take off them eyelashes, some people the contacts, pull off their wig, pull off their hair, pop off them earrings, take off that bra, take off that girdle, and the breast is hanging down to the stomach. Some people is hanging down to the thighs. Okay, keep it real. At that in that moment, we all the same.
Hmm. Okay.
We at that moment we're all the same. All of us are on different. We're on different. We have different paths in terms of how we execute our divine assignment, but really to the very core, we are all the same. And you got to connect with other women where you have a place to lay it all down and you can still be great and wonderful and do your thing, but you got to have a safe place to be able to say, hey, I'm not coming pretending. I'm not coming, I'm hurting today. And other women that can say, you know what, but it's okay. And we're here to love on you. And and that's it. And every woman, especially professional women, especially professional women, you need to have that place where you can do that. And that's part of what I do is provide a safe place for women so that they can have a place that they can call their own. Go back out there, do your thing, and then when you need a little love, you come back in, you get a little love, encouragement, then you go back out there and you do your thing. And we're sisters, and that's what we ought to be able to have. And then while
That's
we
it.
out here making our money and being fabulous too, we can do that
That's it.
together. To do that together, I mean, we can eat alone, but it's a lot more fun when we can eat with somebody. You know,
That's it.
so I like to see everybody eating myself
I like
personally.
dinner parties.
Me too. Me,
I
me
like
too. I
dinner
don't want to be.
parties.
I don't want to be the only one at the table. It's more
Mm.
fun when we can be at the table together. So we definitely, I believe this is a divine connection. I believe that God put us together for a reason. I don't even do a lot of interviews because I don't just jump on the interview to get visibility. I go where God lead. I go where God leads when they go. And I'm gonna tell you the funny thing about this interview. Um, when you put it out on Facebook, and I know there was some things we were supposed to send in, like a resume, or there was something. And I tell you what, Dr. Carolyn has a high IQ, but let me tell you what Dr. Carolyn don't do good with. I don't do good with links. I don't do good with technical stuff and computer stuff. Hey, I tell the truth. Okay, that's why I hire people and outsource people to help me with that stuff. But when I sent my stuff in, I think I sent it in wrong, and I said, Lord, I think I sent it wrong and I don't even know how to get it right. And then time went past, and before I knew it, you just accepted me anyway. And I said, Lord, thank you that the sister had grace and mercy on me anyway. So I'm saying it to say, I believe this was a divine connection. I was supposed to be here, and that's why I was so excited about being here. And I believe that we have been connected for a reason. One, to help each other heal. Okay, two, so we can rise up together and continue to demonstrate the power of sister unity to other women so that it can be contagious and that we can all just come together and really show the world what this thing is supposed to what it's supposed to look like. So I'm excited. We got to get together. And that healing the heels thing, count me in. I love that. I am too a
I
domestic
definitely
violence
will.
survivor, by the way. I will say that. Um,
Awesome. Awesome.
so I get an opportunity to speak on platforms where I talk about my experience with domestic violence, um,
Well,
and
I
to
definitely
support.
got to invite you over to Clubhouse to our we meet every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Where we just meet up and just allow people to share. Me, my co-host, Frederick, he jumped on. I don't know if he's still on, but he is a guy that co-hosts with me, and I have another young lady. Her name is Paige Parkinson. Frederick is actually in Atlanta. Paige is in Texas, and I'm here in South Carolina, and we meet up on Clubhouse and we share our experiences,
Like
our
me.
journey, share statistics, and just open up the floor for people that want to share. And then we share bits and pieces about things that just may be on our mind. things about our story that people question, just different things in hopes that people that don't have a voice would want to voice their thoughts and their opinions.
Please invite
So
me.
we
I would
invite
love
people that
to come.
have a story and want to share to come on and still share with us. If they want to share their testimony, they can come on and share their testimonies. And we usually try to come on. I'll send you the link and you can just
Send
click
me
on
the
the link.
link.
Just click on the link
I
and
would
then you
love
can
to
join
come
it.
on.
You can
I
go
would
over
love
and
to
join, or you
join.
can have somebody to set it up for you. And then you can just join. It'll send you a reminder and then you can just join tonight.
Okay, I love that.
Yes,
I want to
ma'am.
be a part of
We would
that.
love to
I
have you.
am a, well,
Again, Frederick. He's one of the moderators, and he's one of my co-hosts. He's been on both sides, so he get to help the men. That yes, he's been on both sides. So
and I think that's awesome. A lot of people don't realize that men have been abused, as well, you know,
there
and
was some technical, and some
oh, that's okay.
delays in some internet.
We know we're used to it. It's part. We're used to it. It's part of the virtual system now. You know, you're gonna have kinks and bugs. But please send me the
That's it.
Clubhouse invitation.
But I
I would
definitely
love
want
to
to
be a part of
connect
that.
you. I will definitely.
Yeah,
I'll
I want
inbox
to be
it
a
to you
part of
when we
that.
get off here. Um, Yes, but before we leave, I have to get you to share how people can purchase your book, how they can follow you across your social media platforms, how they can connect with you because you
Oh,
are definitely a resource that could help our community heal. And I definitely want people to be able to reach out to you and support you across your platforms.
oh, thank you. And I have tons of things going on that I want, especially black women and men, that I'd love for you to connect with me. So, first and foremost, if you have a voice and you want to share it on TV with 30 million people all across the world, then you need to connect with me. We have a space for you there to create your own show, to be a part of a show. Um, and so you can find me on Facebook very easily under Carolyn Stephens. I do have a therapy page under Dr. Carolyn Stephens. My website, and the easiest way to find me, I'll give you my website, but the easiest way to find me is through email. And it's all lowercase letters. It's dr dot Carolyn, Carolyn 21, which I feel like 21, at yahoo.com. And you can reach out to me really easy. You can through Facebook Messenger, through email. I always answer my emails. I answer Facebook Messenger. But listen, we have opportunities for you all that want to take your podcast. If you're an author, if you're whatever, and you just want to come and be on the network, we certainly would love to have you. So reach out to me if you want to have your own show. If you still feel like this is the year you want to do it, we'd love for you to be a part of it. Also, I'm putting together some things for the I Am a Black Woman movement. And if you have a voice, if you're an advocate for Black women, if you're doing something, you want to help raise social consciousness, whatever it may be, there's a place for you in the movement. We're doing lots of things now. We are getting involved in community affairs. We are advocating for domestic violence victims. There's tons of things that we're doing. So just send me a quick email, send me a messenger group, tell me what you're doing. I'll tell you what I'm doing, and let's see how we can come and we can put that together. I'm just so excited about being here. I pray peace and blessings over the visionary of this great vision and everything that Angela is doing. I'm super excited. So reach out to me, everybody. I love for people to reach out to me, and I will reach back out to you. I'm not one of those people that won't respond to you. I will respond, and it might take me a minute, but I will respond to you. And I'm always open to hear. If you got an idea and you say, hey, I think we could get together and do such and such, I'm open. I am open. I'd love to hear it. I love working with people, and I think that we can help each other, and we can all rise up together. So got lots of things that I'm doing. So please reach out to me.
My brother Frederick said he would love to connect with you. He's
And
in
Frederick,
Atlanta. Yes,
And
he is
Frederick,
actually in Atlanta.
I would love to connect with you. I like working with the Kings, especially. So please, Frederick, DM me, email me, and let's see what we can come up with and what we can do together. I will be traveling quite a bit in 2022. I want to say that, Angela. So I've got some healing retreats coming up. First one in February, I think, is in Arizona. We've got a very big one with Dr. Gloria Walton in North Carolina. I'll be in Aruba. So if you guys want to travel abroad after everything is all passed, then come and have some fun in the sun with me in Aruba. I believe that we're going to be in the Virgin Islands doing
Okay.
another conference. So I've got a lot of things, places that I will be. We've got a conference coming up in Atlanta. So that's why I say reach out to me and find out what's on my calendar. Let me see what's on your calendar and then see what we can come up with and what we can put together.
And I definitely have to connect you with Millie Gross. Millie Gross is one of my writers for the magazine, and she is in the Virgin Island. I want to say St. Croix is
Oh my
where she
goodness.
is, and she is doing some amazing things over there with literacy, with abuse. She is a abuse survivor, so she does a lot with trauma. Her platform is gratification. She just want people. She talks about gratitude all the time. She's just grateful to be alive
I
and
would
just
love to meet her.
grateful to be able to share. So she does a lot. She's one of the writers for the magazine. So I definitely will connect you with her.
I want to meet her.
Yes.
I want anybody that knows you, I want to meet. If
I
they got
definitely.
if they got your spirit, then I love them already. They're family. So
Well,
reach out.
you're definitely gonna love her, and you will definitely love Frederick. He has a little radio network, Trailblazers radio network. It's a podcasting. So
Woo
he does
woo.
that. He definitely tries to lift our men up and try to pull our men up and try to help them take their rightful place. So
Oh,
I
come
applaud
come
him.
on,
So yeah.
King. We'd love to have you on a BHC network. Come on and reach out to me and let's see what we can do. I'd love to have something like that on the network. That would be positive.
Oh
That
yeah.
would be
So
positive.
definitely I will be connecting you with whoever come my way that I feel will definitely fit in the vision. So I want to thank you again for stopping
Thank
by
you, Queen.
and sharing with me. Again, before we leave, anything inspirational that you would like to pour into the people before we walk off?
I just want to tell to especially to all of my black and brown people because I love my people with all our challenges. I love my people. But I'm just going to kind of um, say to you what Angela has said in her conversation is that it's important that we heal and whatever that takes. She gave us a good acronym. One of the things that she talked about was the ego. So I want to leave you with this. Let's lay down the ego. Let's allow ourselves to be vulnerable. The world needs you. Your community needs you. And we need you to be well. So I want you to think about that today. Whatever it takes for you to be well, if it's reaching out to a person like me, a therapist, if it's reaching out to a friend, whatever it takes for you to live in peace and not live in pieces, then do that on today. That's what I want to leave
Wow.
with everybody on today.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you. You have definitely
Thank you
blessed me
so
on
much,
today, and I
Queen.
want to thank you for stopping by.
And I
I want to
will
thank you
anytime
guys
you
for
want.
tuning in today. Thank you. Be blessed.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. So I want to thank you guys for stopping by today to another episode of Up Close and Personal with Angela. I tell you, I truly have enjoyed this. If you missed any part of this, please catch the replay. I tell you, if you've been blessed, please share this across your circle of influence. I have nothing else to say. I'll see you guys back here tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please join us for another amazing brown person touching lives. Up Close and Personal with Angela here on behalf of Aspiring Authors Magazine. I love you, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it.